Hi, I'm Jemma from Create Studio. Welcome to our channel. This week we are creating with natural materials, so we've got pine cones that we're turning into Pinecone pets. Super simple project and can be a lot of fun to create a whole menagerie. I made a little bird, so simple. So I'm going to show you how to make this little bird, but you can take it in lots of directions and make bunny rabbits and foxes and owls and anything that you can imagine. You really don't need to do too much to the body, and you can even use paper for all the parts. I happen to use buttons for eyes, and this is paper that I rolled up, and I'll show you how. And then I just glued feathers on. I did put a base on the bottom with a piece of cardboard that I cut small, so I have some scraps of that just from a box. So I'll show you how to make it with a hot glue gun for this project. That way everything dries right away. And this can be so fun for a Thanksgiving table. Let's get started. So I've got some different sized pine cones. I think for this I'm going to go for the bigger size. So I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of the pine cone. I'm going to put the glue on the part of the pine cone where the cardboard base will touch. So it's the part that sticks up the furthest. For kids, oftentimes they don't necessarily know that gluing things, you want to get those 2 points that touch each other. Sometimes it will be about filling a space, but the space is empty, so it doesn't really work. So now I've got this. Oh, it seems like it oozed between, so I'm going to do it again. Pine cones are pretty bumpy, so glue can definitely stick. So we'll just give it a second to dry in between the spaces. Okay, so now I've got the strings from my pine cone off and the hot glue. Then I'm going to take a small piece of paper. I got orange paper, and I actually have some orange feathers. So that's just what I happen to have, but you can even use paper to make a feather by cutting kind of a leaf shape and then putting fringe on the paper by cutting it if you want to use just paper. So to make my beak, I'm just going to tilt my paper down on one side. I do the left side because I'm right-handed, and then I'm going to fold across it with the other side, and I'm going to make sure I want to keep my point. So to do that, I have to make sure that it's folded down really straight there, but it's not flat because there's a little opening. So I fold it down really straight there to get the point. That way, when I fold the piece of cardboard over or paper over, then it knows where to go. And then I kind of maneuver it with my finger to make it smaller. I'm going to put glue here, hot glue, so it can dry right away. And then I'm going to cut it to a smaller shape, shorter. So I'm just going to cut it like this. I don't want to smash it too flat. And I usually end up with some points that I just need to trim down so that it's about, straight on that end. Then I'm going to put hot glue here on the end of this. It could be a very tiny ice cream cone on the tip of this nose, or beak, I should say. And then we'll just stick it right on, because with hot glue, you have to act fast. So I'm going to stick it kind of between some of the spines of the pine cone, because it's not closed like the other one that I had. So this is going to be sticking out. And then I have 2 feathers that I'm going to add to the side. So I want to do those a little lower than the one that I originally did. And I'm going to just glue them to the side of a pine cone so that they kind of come down on the side instead of laying it down flat on the top, because then it would just go sideways. This is going to be a tall-headed bird. Maybe it's a bird that lives in a tropical forest. So I just put a little hot glue on the side of that, and then I can maneuver it to the direction I want. This is going to definitely be a different looking bird than the other one that I did. Okay, now I'm going to put 2 eyes, And those, I have a couple of buttons, and I thought it would be fun to glue just really different size buttons. So it's going to be kind of a wacky bird. And I'm putting some glue on so that I can put the eye kind of on the front of the pine cone. And I'm going to have to hold that because until it sets into position. So that's one eye. And it'll be kind of like a cuckoo bird. And then I've got my other one, so I'm going to put that on the other side. Watch out for fingers with hot glue. So it's a silly bird. And gluing that in place. So some of these bigger pine cones with bigger spaces, you'll kind of want to play around with them a little bit first to find the right position for you, so that you can get it to being the bird you want it to be. I can also add, I had 2 little beads, so I might add those to the front of the eye. These are little perler beads, and it just gives a center to the eye and makes it a little more on purpose. Actually, you know, these pine cones would be fun to make into a little alien too. So this is a little different than the last one I made, but they can be good friends. So I hope you like this idea of making pinecone pets, and I look forward to hearing about the fun things that you make with yours. We'll see you next week for another great, simple project using natural things. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.